Welcome to the Plant-Based Podcast. Did you know that plants are truly amazing? Not only can you grow them and eat them, you can also wear them, drink them, nourish your skin with them, and so much more. Let Ellen and Michael inspire you to love plants as much as they do, as they chat with the movers and shakers in this wonderful plant-based world. So, let's dig in.
Transform your garden the easy way with sponsors of Series 20 of the podcast, Garden on a Roll. It's the perfect solution for beautiful, ready-made garden borders. If you love the look of professionally designed planting but don't have the time, knowledge or patience to plan it yourself, Garden on a Roll has you covered. Each border is expertly designed by award-winning garden designer Anthony Henn, and delivered with a simple, pre-planned, biodegradable template you can roll out and plant in one go. No guesswork, no stress, just follow the instructions and enjoy the results. Whether you're refreshing a tired space or starting from scratch, you'll get a cohesive, seasonal design that works with plants chosen to thrive together and look great all year round. Choose your style and size, and everything you need is delivered to your door. It's planting by numbers. Visit Garden on a Roll today and bring your outdoor space to life.
Hey guys, welcome to the podcast.
So today we're turning the tables on someone who is usually the one asking the questions.
Oh yes, for many years, Matt Appleby has been one of the most influential voices in UK horticulture, steering the editorial direction of Hort Week, formerly known as Horticulture Week, and covering everything from commercial growing to retail trends, through to environmental policy, plant innovation. What he doesn't know about plants and horticulture, you couldn't write it down on a small piece of paper.
Matt has interviewed countless growers, breeders, garden designers, retailers, and industry leaders. But today, for a change, he is in the hot seat.
We're pretty interested how this is going to go down. So we're going to explore some of the biggest debates facing horticulture right now. So the future of Chelsea Flower Show, the peat-free transition, economics of growing in Britain, labour shortages, wages, all of that gossip here today, and also a few uncomfortable truths that the industry doesn't always like to discuss.
I cannot wait for this. Matt, welcome to the podcast.
Well, it's great to see you, Matt. Thank you so much for joining us here today on the Plant-Based Podcast, because you're usually the guy giving the interviews. How often have you been interviewed? Tell us.
Not very often.
No?
So yeah, the tables are turned.
Yes, this is going to be an interesting hour, I believe. Yeah. So
I'm looking
first of all,
forward to it.
so it's almost like we've got you in a cage and we're ready to play with you.
Yeah.
No, it's going to be wonderful. We're both big fans of you. We see you out and about so much, and like I've known you for quite a few years now as well, and we love the work that you do. So we've got 10 very posing questions about the industry and the bigger world of horticulture. And the first question we're going to ask is very topical. We're going to ask you about the greatest flower show on earth. So our first question is, it's almost like Mastermind. Has the Chelsea Flower Show become too much about spectacle and celebrity and not enough about gardening? I'm going to open that up to the floor.
Oh, that's a good question. No, I really love Chelsea. Chelsea Press Day is my favourite day of the year, and Chelsea Press Day is all about PR and spectacle and marketing, and I guess that's why it's so good, because it really engages absolutely everybody in horticulture for one week of the year, and everybody wants to talk to you, and everybody's got something to talk about, and it's a really exciting thing. So I don't think it's a bad thing at all that it's like a PR led event, because it draws attention to gardening in general, and things like the new plant awards are really useful to the industry, and they were better run this year, and they're useful to gardeners as well, and yeah, I mean, I think Chelsea, on the whole, is a brilliant event.
I mean, there's been a
Mm.
bit of a backlash. I mean, there is a little bit at the end of Chelsea every single year. But this year, there just seems to be a little bit more online about how, press day has become celebrity fueled, if you like, and all the celebs are there and what are they doing there? And half of them don't garden. How do we know they don't garden anyway, is what I'd like to say. But
Yeah, yeah, true.
how do you think that impacts, the show, and why do you think people have this kind of backlash against it in that way?
I think the BBC ran less celebs this year deliberately, having had that
Mm.
story told against them last year.
Interesting.
Hmm.
Um, you know, uh, with Chelsea, I've done every story you can possibly think of about Chelsea over the years because everybody wants to know what's happening at Chelsea in the national media. So,
Hmm.
and I've kind of run out of things to say about Chelsea in some ways. This year I did a video of Superman getting thrown out of Chelsea. You know,
Oh
uh,
yeah.
that was a great story.
Yeah.
There's always great stories come out of Chelsea. Just Stop Oil the other year. We got a video of that.
Hmm.
Chelsea develops every year, but I've, I've, the backlash. I mean, I know the Garden Media Guild members complain they don't get enough access. Um, I don't get enough access. I get less access than I used to, even though I write more about Chelsea than anybody else.
Okay. Uh-huh.
Um, and but that's up to the RHS. Press day is a great day, and compared to the other days, it's much easier to write about what's going on.
Hmm.
Um, I wish I could get access pre-press day like I used to. I know, uh, 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 I know a lot of people do.
Hmm.
Um, I wish the RHS didn't have a two-tier system where some people get stuff first and the rest of us pick up the pieces. Um, but I mean, that's how it works, really, in the national media. And you got to hand it to the RHS. They get some great PR out of Chelsea.
Mm.
Dogs last year, Beckham this year,
Mhm.
gnomes. Just you know, cheesy stuff, but it captures the imagination of non-gardeners.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that is the important thing. Like I'm not really into celebrity at all, same as Ellen, I believe. But I do see that Chelsea is important, and Chelsea is a bit like it's like Hollywood. Do you know what I mean? But that's not a bad thing. As long as there are some things that are take home and relatable, but it doesn't need to be 100% relatable because it is this kind of like Hollywood version of it. And I think that's okay because that's how you get the message out there further as well and get the attention of people that would never even be interested in plants. And that is what it's all about, really. And you do that in a number of ways that don't link to horticulture sometimes, which is always shock horror to the purist, but there are different ways to get people into our world, isn't there, you know?
No, no, I mean it's the stories which aren't about gardening, which
Mm.
the national media
They're
pick up on
equally as
first.
important. Yeah, they really are.
But there's lots of things you can talk about which aren't gardening, like Beckham, Kate
Mm.
Moss, the King,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
gnomes in that order.
That's right, yeah. I'm on the line with it.
Yeah.
I haven't been to Chelsea the last 2 years because pre that I every time I came away from press day, I can't explain the feeling any better than I felt a little icky. And I can't explain why. I loved it and I loathed it all in
Hmm.
one go. And so I decided to take a couple of years off, but I think now I'm getting FOMO and I'm going to go back next year.
Hmm.
No, it's good. I mean, people ask me what do I think of the gardens, what do I think of this and that, but I don't have the chance to look properly because I am
Yeah.
running
I watch
around.
them on TV. It's easier to see them on TV sometimes. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I just, I get there at 7 o'clock and I run around until I get kicked out and talk to hundreds of people.
Hmm.
Like, because having done this for 20 odd years, I know like a lot of the people there. So,
Mm.
and it's just a brilliant opportunity to catch up with people who are all in a good mood.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
true.
That's very true.
And dress nicely.
They are. I'm
Uh,
maybe not. Yeah, yeah.
Well, I know that the RHS have obviously um, put in a whole load of policies about peat-free. And that
Mhm.
leads us on to the next question, and that's the peat-free transition. We know it's been politically and environmentally changed. And do you think the industry has been set up to fall by unrealistic timelines, or has it simply been too slow to innovate? What do you think?
Um, well, there's never been any proper legislation, so like nobody's failed to meet timelines because they've never been sort of set in stone. Um, you know, other than Chelsea, peat is the thing I've written about more than anything else in my career. And, you know, on and on we go about it. We won a Garden Media Guild Award last year for the End of Peat documentary. You know,
Yeah.
I've been to peat bogs all over UK, Ireland, overseas,
Mm,
talked to everybody who's had anything to do with it ever. You know, and you know, our big thing at Hort Week is we show both sides, and we don't think anybody else does. You know,
Yeah.
you're either for or
mm,
against in the media, but but most people in the industry um, are kind of pro peat free, but they use a bit
mhm,
still. You know, and
mm,
you know, there's two different debates going on here. You know, what the media and the NGOs want, and what the industry and the industry bodies want. Now, the industry bodies have been weak on this for over the years, which has allowed the RHS to sort of take over, and you know, led on the sort of science and the campaigning. But I mean, they've wavered. You know, they wanted a ban, but there's not a proper ban in, and that's for commercial reasons. Everybody knows this. So
mm, mhm,
we've said this. I mean, it's a divisive issue.
mhm,
We want to show both sides, and I'm talking to people who use peat at Chelsea this year, and they say they'll be there for years to come because there'll be loopholes.
mhm,
At Hampton Court last year, 100 people signed a petition wanting to keep peat. The Superman guy got kicked out of Chelsea.
mhm,
Because the RHS told him that he hadn't been to peat-free seminars. Um,
mhm.
I mean, I don't really think that was the main reason,
Okay.
but it can be used as a stick to beat you. But
Uh,
there's some people they wouldn't kick out and they wouldn't dare. So I think, you know, it's got a bit to run yet.
Mm.
mm, okay. And what about how it's communicated to the consumer? Do you think that the industry's doing a good enough job with that? Because at the end of the day, that's what we're all working towards. But are they aware of how to use peat-free, or why they've suddenly been pushed into peat-free, for example?
I mean, I was always amazed that it never said what was in a bag on a bag, you know, and
True.
it never. I mean, it just like it doesn't say on plants who grew the plants. Like I don't know why the industry
Mm,
doesn't talk about these things, you know.
mhm,
And you know, there's some peat-free producers which sort of play down the peat-free on the bag, because it's got a bit of a reputation of maybe not working.
Mm.
Um,
mm,
but I kind of think, you know, your average punter buys the cheapest or the one that's in the biggest bag or the one they think's the best deal, and you know, they're not necessarily that bothered about peat free. I mean, a lot of them are, but
mm.
so,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, the idea that they know how to use it better. No, I mean, I think that has been a failing because people blame themselves when it goes wrong. At a consumer level, the industry is a completely different thing, you know, and
Hmm.
and this what they use has to work, you know.
Yeah.
For
Hmm.
the consumer, it
Yeah.
doesn't have to work, though it might put them off from
Yeah, you're right,
gardening next
actually.
year.
Sad as it is. Yeah.
Yeah, but the industry
Mm,
has to work, and if it doesn't work, and they get crop failure, they lose a load of money.
hmm.
They go to the manufacturer, they ask for compensation. That might happen, but you know, there's always a grey area about whose fault it is. Um, so
Mm,
yeah, I would like to see proper guidance out there about how each crop should be grown with each product. The
Mm.
RHS
mm.
hasn't got there yet. Um,
Really?
no, I don't think so. You
Okay.
know, it's not published as far as I can
Yeah.
see. You know, if you were to buy a bag of X, would that actually do this to this, and how would you make this plant work better?
Hmm.
It's not that there yet. It's not transparent enough.
Hmm. I also
Yeah,
think, oh,
yeah,
sorry,
sorry,
go on.
Michael. I agree with that. Like, if you are a new gardener and you're going into a garden centre, you don't know anything about peat free, why would you know? How would you know? You would
Yeah, yeah.
just simply go for whichever bag, I don't know, looks the best, is the biggest, is the cheapest, is a deal, exactly like you said. They wouldn't know anyway. I've grown peat free for such a long time, and honestly, I've never had a problem. But this is on a really small scale. If you are, in industry, like I work with a nursery who have transitioned to 50% peat free because they still haven't yet found the right blend for what they grow. And that's quite tough for someone who is, selling like a lot, masses and masses of plants. And that could put them out of business. If even in 1 year, if they used some kind of compost that was peat free and then, they had a complete crop failure, that would be a massive problem
Mm,
for them. But then the consumer at the other end doesn't know that. They're just thinking about the hanging baskets and containers, aren't they? It's totally different.
mm.
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, I saw Lidl this year. I've got peat free, and it says on the bag, but it's cheap, so people will buy it. I don't know how well it works.
Yeah,
Um,
totally.
you know, my kind of watchword is it. In a week, I'll get called pro peat and anti peat, so I'm happy with that.
But it has become, but almost it's become so divisive and political that people forget what the point is, and it's almost about kind of like saying the right thing on social media or this and that. And that to me, that sort of thing always makes me so annoyed because it takes the focus off what it's really about, and it becomes this empty gestures all over the place. And I really, really hate that part of it. And just, yeah. But what about, how do you feel about overseas? Because, you spend time in Netherlands like I do. Like sometimes
Mm,
their awareness is so much less. And then I was in Italy last year at the Poinsettia conference at Lazari. They've got even less awareness. And then, of course, in the US, there's a different level. And sometimes I feel like we're one of the smaller countries that have got this heightened awareness and all this emotion around it, but there are some
mm.
bigger markets that don't even care, What do you think about overseas kind of concerns around it?
Yeah, well, I do spend a bit of time
Mm.
abroad, not as much as you, Michael, but a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, at Essen, I'll talk to all, you'll see like one sign that says peat free, and there's massive
Yeah.
producers there, who, will keep going till 2050. I mean, they haven't really got any targets, and they obviously import into the UK,
Hmm.
and you can't really ban that happening. So to create a level
Mm.
playing field where UK growers are using substrates which are probably more expensive and probably more difficult to use. I don't think many people would
Mm.
argue with that. Maybe they would, I don't know. Compared to the overseas producers who might be using a substrate which is cheaper and simpler to use. Um, that isn't a level playing field for the UK producers, and
Yeah.
I think that's a bit insurmountable. Very
Hmm.
hard to test if imports have got any peat in it. Is anyone going to do that? I think the
Yeah.
government's
True point, actually. Yeah.
fallen down on that one. So yeah, I mean
Hmm.
that is a potential issue, but it's a good thing that the UK is leading the world on it.
Hmm.
Mm. But yeah, which is
True. Yeah, that is a very good point, actually.
it is.
Yeah.
Um, and also, sorry, just to finish this kind of peat-free debate off, is there an actual deadline? Because I'm even confused about that. Is there a deadline for when we go peat-free?
No.
Right, there we go.
Mhm. Mm.
And that's that.
What, Ellen, before we move on, what do you think from a US perspective? What do you see there with peat free?
Uh, in garden centers, nurseries, you'll get
Mm.
maybe a few bags that will say peat-free, organic,
Hmm.
peat-free, da da da. But there's not a great deal of awareness
Mm.
around that, and the
Hmm.
majority of the compost won't be peat-free. You have to kind of search it out a little bit. I done a talk at an event last year, the year before, I can't remember when it was now, and I was talking about peat-free growing, and
Hmm.
in the audience at the end, I mean, I just mentioned it as part of my
Yeah,
talk.
yeah.
And at the end, one of the questions was, can I just ask you what's the problem with peat? Like they had absolutely no knowledge of that at all. But I think that it's, America is just so huge. There'll be pockets of gardeners and, societies that understand that and are promoting that. But in the wider community, probably not. No,
Hmm.
not any really real awareness about it. So, I think the UK really are leading the way with that for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Something to be proud of then. Yeah.
Yeah, something to be proud of. Sure. Um, so if we're talking about being overseas a lot, Michael is always away traveling all over the place, isn't he? And he
Stop it.
oh, stop it. Oh, you love it. Don't blush,
What to
Michael.
say?
And he
Yeah.
always brings to social media these incredible new plants, all kinds of different like glow in the dark flowers and this and that and everything else and all these amazing colors and varieties and new plant breeding. And they all look absolutely incredible. But why
Mm.
do I never see those new plants reach the market? So all of those amazing plants that you see, I don't ever go to a garden centre or nursery and actually see them for sale. You know,
Mhm.
what's why? Why do they not reach the market? Are is it kind of retailers favoring kind of the safe commercial bets over
Mm.
innovation, or what do you think?
I think, well, they take a few years to reach the market. We all know about Ninja, don't we, Michael? That won this year, the
Mhm.
red hoster, not available. And
Mm.
they take a while to bulk up and reach the market because you enter your and win a prize, and then you know how many to grow. So it takes a while. But yeah, I mean, I you know I mean, if there's a question about are there enough new plants launched, there was 150 at National Plant Show last June.
Mhm.
I'm sure there'll be a similar
Mhm.
number this year. There's 20 on the shortlist at Chelsea. There'll be 100 at Gardeners World Live. Be more at Four Oaks and Flower Trials and IPM. And there's a lot of new plants out there. So, but maybe because there is so many. There's how many opportunities do you get
Mm.
for a real break?
Yeah, survival of the fittest almost, isn't it? I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, and even the
Good
ones that
point. Yeah.
win awards don't necessarily
Mm.
stand the test of time. And we've all
Hmm.
seen them, Michael, like the ones which said they were hardy, which aren't so hardy, or
Mm.
tasted
Hmm.
nice, which didn't, or whatever. You know, like they take a few years to sort of bed in, and yeah, I mean, we I mean, there's classics which hang around there, but yeah, I guess it
Hmm.
comes again back to growers, like you say, Ellen, want a safe bet. They want something which is guaranteed to be,
Yeah, it's very hard to push the dial with the growers, isn't it? Yeah.
to be a winner. But if you go
Yeah.
to the garden centre, they love
Hmm.
novelty, and they love
Hmm.
having an exclusive. You look at someone like Blue
Hmm.
Diamond, at Chelsea, they had a load of exclusives. At Chelsea, there's
Hmm.
so many roses launched, new roses, and everybody wants their exclusive new rose. Whether it's different to the last one doesn't really matter as long as it's got a good name.
Or a celebrity's name.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Never mind how
I
it will perform in your garden. If it's got Kate Moss on it, then it's all good.
no, but actually, while we're on roses, Gardens Illustrated grabbed me for a podcast when I was at Chelsea, and they said, "Oh, what do you think of some of the celebrity named plants this year?" And I was like, I haven't really seen any because I'm not really into roses because, of course, all the names were roses. They were all roses. Why do
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
never name like a new hoster after a celebrity, for example? That could be
Yeah.
pushing
Doesn't
the dial a bit. Yeah.
doesn't happen often, does it? Yeah. Yeah.
No.
I mean, a rose is the go-to plant where, um,
Yeah.
for instance, We Built Britain 2 came to us a few years ago and said we want to launch a plant for John of Stumlin, who was a sort
Hmm.
of 18th century black gardener. So I put them in touch with Harkness Roses. That's just the easy option,
Okay.
uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
because that is what you do. That is the
Mm,
sort of
true.
accepted way. Any celebrity. But then again, you do get
Hmm.
a bit celebrity clematis, celebrity.
Well,
I don't know, a few of
yeah,
us.
yeah, a little bit. Yeah, maybe.
Not much. No, but you got a good point there, Michael. Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm also, before I move on, I'm going to ask the opposite question of like, is there really some plants that are still being for sale that shouldn't be for sale? Because I think it's so hard to convince people to go for something new. Like I always attack lavender headcoat at this point. It's like
Mm.
it's a ragged old thing. There are better lavenders out there, but the consumer's still going to demand headcut. The grower's probably not going to want to move away from headcut. Like, how do you do that with? uh, I think the only way is to release it as Hidka improved or something. But when you've got a new one coming into the market, like exceptional or phenomenal that came through a few years ago, it's like it's very hard for them to have an impact, even if they are better, you know?
Yeah, I mean, do the consumers demand that? Maybe.
Mm,
But there's not many. I mean, it's a bit like brand names in plants. No, no, there's
Mm,
hardly any brand names. No, not many consumers will say I must
no,
have an XX.
true.
You
There
might
are
have
a
a
lot
name.
of brand names, but ones that are recognized by the consumer is a very small proportion of
Yeah,
that.
it's
Yeah.
like David
Yeah.
Austin Roses, Raymond Everson
Mm,
Clematis. Not many
hmm.
more. It costs a lot of money to do that, and it's not a big enough market. And maybe it's the
Yeah.
same with plant names as well.
Yeah.
People grow what they are used to. People sell what they're used to, and
Hmm.
yeah, it's a bit of a glacial market. Yeah, but yeah, so I mean, it's a good question to ponder on.
Yeah. Okay. Next, we're going to talk. Well, we're going to talk a little bit about pay, but first of all, something that leads us into that, which is younger people. Are we able to attract younger people into the industry without really increasing pay or showing the different opportunities? Because I think sometimes the issue is um, it's not very visible what you can do in horticulture and how different all of those roles can be. So, what would you say is a good kind of initiative or kind of good things that are being done for young people out there? What have you seen around?
Well, there's a lot of initiatives, and they do compete against each other a bit. Starting off from
Okay.
campaign for school gardening, which is brilliant, but there's
Mm,
so many initiatives. But I mean, our point would be we do a lot of research around salaries, and we've done it for quite a few years, uh,
hmm.
and no one else has really done this, though they have tried to sort of copy it. But they're not as bad as they're made out to be in horticulture, and the
Mm,
careers are not as um, dirty and boring and outdoor and
yeah,
as they're made out to be. And the reputation
that's
isn't good.
interesting.
But
Interesting.
there's loads of careers, and you look at sort of I don't know, AI or whatever, or
Hmm.
people doing sort of interesting kind of office-based stuff, but it's still horticulture,
Hmm.
technical type stuff, which is not what is seen as your usual horticulture career, and
Yeah,
that
it's
that and
clean
that can
fingered,
pay
not green fingered, in the
exactly,
words
and
of
that
Matt Porter. Yeah.
well, and Jane Lawler, yeah. But but it pays well in many
Mm,
cases. Our research has shown, and that's the next year's research is out this June.
hmm.
Um, it, the reputation maybe isn't as good as it could be. I mean, a lot of people say to
Mm.
me, at school they told me don't go into horticulture, which
Same.
is, uh,
Same,
uh, uh, you
same.
know, and obviously we wish people didn't say that, but I can't. I just find it bizarre a sort of careers officer would ever say that.
Yeah.
You know,
I've told the story so many times, Matt, that
yeah.
I went to my careers, little chat when I was, I guess, 15. Didn't know what I wanted to do, but I did love plants. And the careers teacher said to me, she had this big careers book open. I never forget it. And she just said to me,
Mm.
what do you want to do? And I said, well, I really don't know. And she said, well, kind of, what do you like? And I said, well, plants. And she literally ran her finger down this list of careers and she went, Ellen, you could be a teacher or a nurse. And I remember
Honestly.
thinking, oh, okay.
Uh,
There you
well,
go.
for me, like when they don't know what to tell you, they say go and do horticulture. But it worked out well for me, so there you go.
It did
But
work out well. Yeah.
my one last point on that would be the
Yeah.
YPHA. There's been a number of sort of young people's groups in horticulture, but
Hmm.
they're the best ones at the moment.
Yeah, they've
Uh,
really sustained, haven't they? Yeah.
yeah, and
Yeah.
I think that they do a good job uh, um,
Mm.
at what they do, and I think the industry is very accepting of young people.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, oh, totally. And I think it's really weird because sometimes I think we're our worst PR. We're our own worst PR because we make a lot of assumptions and like in the horticulture industry, we've always got a chip on our shoulder about something. It's always like, oh, we're not paid enough, or kind of like there's not enough young people. But sometimes you just need to do the research like you guys have done, or look around. Like when you go to a flower show these days, like literally in Malvern show in the houseplant marquee, it's less grey hair than anything. Do you know what I mean? Like the grey haired people are the minority. And that would have
Excuse
been the other way
me.
around before. Well, you're
Excuse
in the middle.
me.
Oh, grey
But it
hair.
is it's changed and we need to recognize that. Like young people love plants. It's just amazing. Honestly. So yeah. I'm wondering if then our next question might actually be redundant, but I'm going to ask you anyway.
Yeah.
Should horticulture then stop relying on the argument that people work in the industry for passion rather than a financial reward? Is that therefore an eligible question, or have we blown that out of the water with your actual real time research there?
No, no, I don't think you have, and I
No?
can come up, because the likes of National Trust have always relied on
Mm,
low-wage gardeners,
hmm.
career changers, volunteers. Look at Chelsea, relies on
Hmm.
volunteer planting. This is all stuff
True.
we've brought up in depth before. People certainly don't like hearing it.
Mm,
100 people on the RHS are on over 60 grand a year, but I don't think any of them are gardeners.
Right,
mm, true,
right.
true.
We've pointed this out in the past, which doesn't go down well, but they have put their salaries up afterwards. And I don't think gardeners are paid enough, and because the leading groups do hold those wages down, um, even though they're very skilled jobs. So they could be paid more. But
Mm.
you know, I guess people, have always been like that. I mean, there's less.
Hmm.
You always get a bit of a. You used to get accommodation thrown in and all that, and it was a lifestyle, and it was outdoor, and all that's great. There's less accommodation available. I mean, some of the houses at Wisley have been sold, for instance.
Okay.
So I think we have campaigned hard on this in the past, and it's one. It's a bit like, I don't know, nurses. You know,
Hmm.
like it's clear that nurses aren't paid enough for what they do, but they're and there's been a lot of campaigning around that, and they are paid more than they used to. Um,
Hmm.
and I would say that it's the same with gardeners. Everybody loves what gardeners do, but they're not seen as particularly high skilled or particularly high
Mm.
paid. Though at the top end, they're paid, a reasonable level, but not the sort of level you'd get for, some jobs which I think, God, you really get that
Hmm.
for doing that.
Yeah. I just, like you're caretaking the land at the end of the day. You are literally helping the planet, hopefully, if you're gardening, organically or veganically, perhaps. And ultimately, it's science, it's geography, it's English, it's Latin, it's math,
Hmm.
it's all of the
Mm.
things, isn't
Yeah.
it? So how anyone can say a gardener isn't skilled is really beyond me. And
Yeah.
public places, like people walk through public places and admire them. Like that doesn't just happen overnight. That takes,
Hmm.
a lot of work and research and planning and cost. And then of
Yeah.
course the industry side of it, horticulture brings in so much money into the country, and
Hmm.
gardeners get paid such a little amount for that. So yeah, I definitely campaign for more money for gardeners, absolutely. Being one. Being
Of
one
course.
myself also. Um, so that moving on from that, Matt, is there's obviously since COVID, so let's say since 2020, there's been a huge movement in horticulture with so many more people finding a love for it, which has been really great. And then on top of that, there's been the environmental movement, the importance of gardening for the climate, for wildlife, excuse me, for communities. And then throw that in with social media, and it's gone absolutely mad for the environmental
Hmm.
impact of gardening, right?
Mm.
Do you think that that has unintentionally made gardening more complicated, and expensive for consumers? Like, are gardeners being overwhelmed with the rules
Hmm.
of being sustainable gardeners? Is that giving them guilt rather than inspiring them to grow? What do you
Mm.
think about that?
No, I think it's a good point. Peter Seabrook used to write for us, and I used to listen to him as a bit of an oracle. And I used to say, "Oh, I'm doing it like veganically, Peter," and he'd go,
Hmm.
it's an awful lot of work, isn't it? Because
Hmm.
if you nuke stuff, then it's pretty quick and effective, isn't it?
Yeah.
Rather than you know making your own compost and making your own fertilizer and picking off slugs and doing all that type of stuff. And I get a lot of crop losses, which you know is is not great down the allotment, but it doesn't actually matter in the big scheme of things. I'd rather
Hmm.
that my crops died than me sort of kill everything. But I've written about this a lot, and I've seen the industry, the NGOs take it up. I did this hug a slug campaign, and sure enough, 5 years later, lo and behold, it's out there with our favorite horticulture society. They get there at the
Yeah.
end, and you know, I don't think it's a bad thing that people want to be greener. Whether they can grow the same amount as what they used to,
Hmm.
does it actually matter? Not for most people, unless they're trying to feed the family off the allotment.
Yeah, I agree. I think
Mm.
I see quite a lot of hacks online that I look at, and I just think that's just making it harder for yourself. Actually, organic
Mm.
growing is the easiest way to grow, and it's a mindset shift in that, yeah, I might lose some of my lettuce or some of my cabbages, but
Mm.
that's okay because there's still a few more. And it is just a little bit of a mindset shift, isn't it? That's what I think. And I don't. I don't think there should be guilt, but I do think there should be awareness of what you're doing in the garden,
Mhm.
and knowing what is good for the environment and what
Mhm.
isn't for sure.
But
But I
then
do.
again, I just say, but for just in case I sound like I'm missing out professionals, for professionals, it's a very different issue.
Oh,
Their crops,
yes.
their crops have to work.
Mhm.
And,
Mm.
for
Mhm.
instance, glyphosate is going through renewal at the moment.
Yeah.
Um, it's already been renewed in the EU. People often see EU as being greener
Mhm.
than the UK. It's already been renewed there. I mean, it probably will happen in the UK too. But,
Mhm.
Yeah.
you know, I've, I just, it's a really tricky one, for professionals and for people who are professionally gardening as well, professionally growing. They've got a different set of problems and
Mhm.
and economics to deal with.
Yeah,
Mhm.
agreed,
Okay.
agreed. And I
Yeah.
think we're definitely talking more on, the amateur gardening level,
Mm.
definitely.
Well, it's a bit like the peat argument. The
Mm,
consumer can easily deal without peat. At the moment, some growers can't.
yeah, agreed.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
there's a kind of process to go through to get there, and they perhaps need some time to do that. But the at-home consumer, at the at-home gardener, the amateur gardener, I don't think there should be any guilt, but there should be definite awareness in what you're using. And
Mm.
personally, I do
Mhm.
not think products like glyphosate and anything like that should be available. Just shouldn't be on the shelves. It shouldn't be available to the amateur gardener. Simple as that. And then it just won't
Mhm.
get used. Simple.
No, well, I've seen that shelf shrink in the garden centre massively over the last few years. That shelf
Mm.
of bowls. And because those active ingredients aren't really available like they used
Mm.
to
Mhm.
anymore.
Well,
Good.
that has to be seen as progress to a degree, doesn't it, as well?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, talking about production, then, in that case, um, do you think there should be stronger measures to support domestic production, even if it puts the prices up in the garden centres, especially since imports become more and more difficult, and there's some things that you purely can't bring in these days? And what do you feel about kind of the nursery production kind of world?
Well, I mean, that's another interesting one. Brexit was meant to help the
Mm.
UK production, but we've got agreements going through with the EU at the moment to try and ease
Mhm.
border friction post Brexit, because people have had a nightmare. Because it's an international trade, and there's hardly anyone in the
Mhm.
UK who doesn't, you know, work with Europe to get young plants or to get,
Yeah.
growing media or to get whatever. Um, and there's not many people who want to seal off Britain and say, we can be, self-sufficient. At the same time, the British industry, I think, has grown a bit since
Mhm.
Brexit, because it's been harder to import and a bit more expensive. Um, the British export industry has, fallen away to virtually nothing of plants, which is
Mhm.
the other side of the coin. So there's not many people who don't want this sort of SBS agreement with the EU to happen. So, but the government has never really supported the horticulture industry. There's no
Mhm.
history of that. They didn't give compensation when, in 2012, a guy told us, we've imported 200 ash trees which had this weird disease. We told DEFRA they're trying to hush it up. So I did the story, and then DEFRA a few months later let the world know. Obviously, we'd let the world know beforehand. But DEFRA kind of admitted it, but they didn't give any compensation, even though, in theory, it's their fault because they let it in at the borders. I mean, that is,
Mhm.
another big issue as biosecurity of the UK, and how much inspection you need to do on both sides of the border. But since Brexit, things still get in. It's pretty hard to sort of fight these diseases, like, which are always going to kind of um, cross the channel and cause big damage. So yeah, I mean, obviously everybody wants to see the UK industry grow, and it has a bit,
Mhm.
but and everybody wants to see the government support it properly, but the government, I don't think it's
Mhm.
ever going to happen.
But they have all sorts of little. I've seen a steady increase of those events there when they have these like forums and kind of like what do they do? Would you say is that it feels like very softly, softly? Is that a good thing or?
I mean, they used to support, people going to overseas shows, but that's kind of fallen off.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
I don't think the government's really supporting UK horticulture any more than it
Mm.
ever has. That is one of
Hmm.
the big kind of campaigning points of the industry.
Yeah.
And particularly when you get the sort of power of the NFU um, in government's ear about agriculture, like horticulture being the little sister. I mean, that hasn't changed
Mm.
that much. The HCA is a lot better at campaigning than it used to be, and it's got its feet under the table in lots of different places, which can only be a good thing. But whether horticulture gets much of a say in national policy, we look out for it all the time because we want to write about it, and there's not a lot.
Mm.
Hmm.
Okay, we're coming towards the end of this episode. Um, we have a couple of questions left, but one question that I really want to ask you, Matt, is what's the biggest uncomfortable truth the horticulture industry doesn't want to talk about right now?
Right. My my thing is, right, it's a car-led industry. Everybody drives
Hmm.
everywhere. Everybody drives to the
Okay.
garden center. Everybody drives to meetings. Any
Hmm.
conference is a place nowhere near a railway station, for instance. No one thinks about that. So electric vehicles might make it all better. Um, but more broadly, and this is me speaking personally, and I'm with you here, Ellen. It's about the world's agriculture being animal based,
Mhm.
which
Hmm.
creates climate change, starves populations, and a switch to plant-based diets would solve many of the world's ills. Food for all, no cruelty, and global warming slowing down. Ellen, agree with me?
Oh, I'm there 100%. Both Matt and I support and have done some work for the Vegan Organic Network, and it's the science shows it. Why are we not adopting that in our
Hmm.
practices across the industry? Absolutely. What a difference it could make to the world. And really, it's not hard. That's all I've got to say. It's not hard, but
Hmm.
it's kind of just changing how we think about things a little bit.
That's about agriculture more than horticulture. But with agriculture, I mean, there's a lot of myths there,
Mm.
and a lot of uncomfortable
Hmm.
truths,
Yeah.
and you know the that is an argument which is not winnable really, but it's worth
Yeah.
having.
Yeah,
Hmm.
agree. Certainly in
Okay.
order to make people think about it. Definitely.
Mm.
Yeah. Thanks, Matt, for that.
I'm going to skip my next question because I feel I'll get that same answer, even though it's a very valid answer. So I'm going to change it around a little bit into looking ahead 10 years. What practice do you think that is currently accepted in horticulture do you think we'll look back on and consider how was that ever normal?
I think that's well, I think that's a little bit linked to car-led industry and its fossil
Yeah,
fuel
maybe
use.
so, maybe so. Mm.
We'll have heat pumps, electric vehicles,
Mm.
biomass, you know,
Hmm.
greener fertilizer production. The
Hmm.
war in Iran has kind of highlighted,
Yeah.
how we kind of rely on that kind of oil. So fossil fuel phase out in horticulture, I think, but
Mm.
that'll be across a lot of industries. Shift away from using natural gas, oil, and coal
Yeah.
for greenhouse heating and heavy machinery and synthetic fertilizers.
Hmm.
And that will cut greenhouse gas emissions. And I think a lot of people, particularly on the food side of horticulture, have looked at that in recent times, and there was some progress, which I think has slowed down more recently, maybe with economic questions going around. But yeah, I mean that would be my answer. But I'm interested what you two think.
Hmm.
Oh, you just threw that back at us. You've slipped back into interviewing
I knew
mode.
he'd start interviewing, damn it. Oh.
Oh gosh. I ultimately think I
10 years as well. Yeah.
10 years is not really that long when you think about it. I agree with you, Matt, on all of that. In 10 years' time, we're going to be like 2030s, next generation going to come up and they're going to say, what the heck were you doing with all of that herbicide, insecticide, and all of that crap? That's what they're
Hmm.
going to say. you know?
And you found another way to, even if you think about domestic gardens, people found a different way to garden that was
Yeah,
more accepted. And it wasn't like our parents' generation who were trying to
yeah,
desperately keep a garden under control. It would
yeah,
be a garden that looks full and voluptuous and full of
yeah,
wildlife. And you remember when I used to live in this cul-de-sac in Suffolk, my garden was the
yeah.
one that looked the most messy to everyone. Yeah.
Mm,
But
yeah,
all the other ones were just either, weed killer to within an inch of their lives, paved over,
yeah.
artificial turf, artificial plants, and my garden looked crazy. But maybe in 10 years' time, there's one garden in the cul-de-sac that looks crazy, and that is because it has the artificial things in and all the weed killed. Yeah. So I'm
Hopefully
kind of going a
everyone,
little on along those
hopefully,
lines. Yeah.
hopefully every cul-de-sac will be
Mm.
crazy, Michael. Hopefully
Yeah,
that's what will
yeah.
happen.
But it's just weird. I was like ostracized because I had this messy garden, but it was the best garden there. Jesus.
Oh,
But I'm
you should see my allotment.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, mine
honestly.
too.
And you know how they're always like passive aggressive. It's like, oh, your garden's growing well over the pathways.
Oh, yeah.
My mum, who
Go
obviously
away.
she's always been a very formal gardener. Everything's very
Yeah.
neat and trimmed to within a
Yeah.
centimeter
It's
of its life. She
madness.
um she came to my old cottage garden and she said, "Well, she said you're definitely a gardener for wildlife, aren't you?" And
My
Ah,
mum used to say my garden was a mess
it was
openly.
like the best backhanded compliment ever. And I don't think she even really understood the irony of it. It was brilliant. Anyway.
Oh my God, honestly. Wow.
Matt, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I've really enjoyed talking to you and getting a little industry insight and just your thoughts on some of
Yeah.
these kind of
Really
big
appreciate
topics.
it.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. Thank you. So, where if anyone doesn't know about you and Hort Week, where can people find you
just
online?
at hortweek.com,
Hmm.
and we've got free to access podcasts every Friday.
Hmm.
So that's a good sort of access point to listen to us. And hortweek.com
Hmm.
is where we're at. So yeah, but thanks a lot for asking me. This is
Oh, no
really
worries. It's cool.
really good of you
Mhm.
to get me along. Yeah, thanks a lot.
But
I
I
feel
think
like it's been
also,
long overdue, actually. We
yeah.
should have asked before. I'm sorry.
Uh, but I think also before we let you go, just we've touched on it very briefly there, but just give us a bit of info on your side quest, which is obviously veganic gardening as well. Do you post any of that online, for example? I know you've done a few talks at flower shows, etc., but just give us a few lines on that. I think it's important for listeners to be aware of this almost like alter ego that you have.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a thing called VON, veganic or vegan organic network,
Hmm.
um, which is sort of charity, and I sort of do a bit help them out sometimes. I feel
Mm.
like you should do some good stuff, and
Yeah.
yeah, so like I kind of do the odd gardener's question time for them. Um, yeah, and meet some interesting people at events that they do. So
Yeah.
yeah, and
Cool.
I wrote a book about that a few years ago, and I mean I've written a book about a few things. Um, I'd write if any publisher listening, I'd like to write a book about a few more things. But I read a lot of gardening books, and I'd like to write a few more. But yeah, so that would be my one request. I want a nice publisher who goes through with their plans.
Okay, publishers, come on,
Okay, that picture's
let's
sealed.
get Matt a deal. He knows so
Yeah.
much, and it will be very
Sure.
interesting. So yeah, that's very cool. And just for anyone
Oh.
who's wondering, I mean, I speak about it a lot, but VON or veganic gardening is basically gardening organically, but also with minimal harm to any
Hmm.
living creature or being. Not using any form of animal product
Hmm.
as well in the garden. And I've been asked about that on my allotment quite a lot. And I just think it's the most wonderful way to garden. You're really just letting
Mm.
nature do nature and you're not managing it too tightly.
And it's
It,
easier.
it's just a lovely, calm, safe way to garden. And I feel like
Mm.
it kind of contributes to your own well-being as well, because you're not doing any harm to anything. You're not contributing to this. agricultural industry that was obviously just been mentioned in this podcast. So yeah, if anyone's interested in that, then check out Vaughan Vegan Organic Network. Thank you, Matt, for mentioning it.
Thank you. Someone here that's guaranteed to laugh at my jokes, so I'm very happy.
So I hear that you two had banter at a recent show. Is that right?
Oh, yeah. I think it was good. Michael was terrible at doing my accent, but...
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. I really can't do accents. I really discovered this. Oh, my God.
Actually, I think we should let our listeners know who our gossip guest is. So I think you should go ahead and introduce yourself. Like, this is so informal that the gossip section, we're just literally chatting away about anything. So I feel like we've done our bit, Michael.
Yeah,
like we've done our interview bit. So yeah,
just go for it. The floor is yours, Alina.
Yeah.
All right, me lovers. I'll start off with that. Yeah, my name's Alina. I just got gold, best in show, and People's Choice Award at RHS Malvern. Woo!
I like that you're using that as your USP. I love this level of confidence. It's really cool.
Yeah.
How can I not?
It's totally a USP. You need to do that every time you introduce yourself to anyone now, anywhere. That's what you need to say.
I'm a gold medal winner. How are you doing? Are you? Cool. No. Okay.
Oh well, I am.
And you were also on Gardener's World as well that Friday, weren't you?
I was.
So that was cool. Yeah.
It was so cool. It was so fun.
How are you feeling now? This was like about a month ago, isn't it now?
I had that realization earlier. I was like, oh my God, it's almost on the 7th, it'd be a month since it was open to the public.
Yeah.
So it was crazy. Absolutely crazy.
But you were happy. I know this is weird, but were you surprised when you won? But sometimes people can feel really confident and be like, yeah, well, I might win. Was there any kind of like inkling in you, or how did it feel? Like, I'm just really intrigued.
Yeah, well, because it'd be my first time, I wasn't too sure.
Yeah.
I was not expecting gold because a lot of people said, they didn't really get gold on their first go. Okay. And it was just, there's photos of me like gobsmacked, like pouring my eyes out. So I think you can see that I was very surprised. I was very happy to see that one. Cool. Yeah.
And what's the come down like after the show? How do you feel afterwards?
I'm still trying to ride high, because I've got that now. Nobody could take it away from me, kind of thing.
That's cool.
And it's like one of the biggest things I've done in my life so far. So
that's really cool.
Yeah.
So amazing. And we should just say also that you're a little plant lover online, aren't you? In case anyone listening doesn't know who you are, you're a little plant lover, and your gold medal was for a houseplant show garden, wasn't it? Yeah. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, so it was called Back to Grandma's House, and it was a 70s inspired aesthetic with the furniture and the colours. The name kind of came quite, trying to think of the word, incidental. Like, me and Adam were just talking about it, and we were talking about,
I guess.
It was very organically, because we were talking about like how houseplants kind of bring us warmth and comfort, and Adam was saying like, the 70s is like your grandma's house, and he basically just said, it's like going back to your grandma's house, and I was like, well, maybe we should just call it that.
And that made it even more relatable for many people, I guess, didn't it? So
and it was really cool because the whole show, it was like people were hitting like the nostalgia trip of like, I remember that. I remember my mum had that, or my nan had that. And then it was like my kind of generation coming and be like, oh my God, I want my house to look like this. And I'm like, yeah.
That's really cool. Really cool.
You know what? I do think like all the retro stuff is definitely having a comeback. So
I was
in a vinyl shop the other day, and they had this like shelves, and it was all cassette tapes and like
like a cassette recorder with the little headphones that you used to, and I was like,
cool.
oh my, this is, I want that so badly. I kind of want to rewind. Do you know what I mean? And literally use tapes again. So we've been using vinyl at home because it just feels so nice to do that. I don't know what it is. It's just comforting or something. I don't really know. Or maybe it's trying to defy age. I don't know. But either way, it's really nice. So have you got any plans now going forward? What's the next thing for you? Now you're a gold medal winner.
Oh yeah, emphasize that. Gold. No, I'm not 100% sure, to be honest. I do know I want to be back next year, so I've already emailed Charlie, who runs it, like, hey, cool. Charlie, by the way.
Well, I think you're ambitious, so I think anything is possible, really. Yeah, it could be another show such as Chelsea. I don't know.
I don't know. I think I've got quite big shoes to fill if I go to Chelsea. If I do Chelsea, it's got to be something mine's like, big, all out kind of thing.
Yeah.
I have a few ideas, but I'm not going to share them just in case.
Just in case. Well,
never know who's listening.
Yeah. But I'm just like for me, like a couple of times I've been approached to do like sort of like a border at Gunners World Live, or maybe even the Houseplant Fitters. I don't remember, not the Malvern ones, but other ones. And like, I just don't know if I've got the finesse for it. You know what I mean? I don't know, because you've got to do it and do it really well. And I'm kind of like maybe a bit kind of, I don't know, slapdash. I'm not sure. How on earth do you plan out that sort of thing and make sure you do make it like great finesse?
Yeah, I guess because I've done a BA and MA in photography, so having like key eye for details is quite there. But also I've done a lot of retail jobs in the last decade, and I've become like visual merchandisers for the retail stores.
Will have really helped.
Yeah, so that's really helped. And like the details in retail, as I've always been told years and years ago in an old job. So I've always kind of had that to heart, and I've always learned from like the company's own visual merchandisers and how to make displays and stuff. And I always loved doing like window displays. I used to work for Oliver Bonus, and I used to love doing the window displays for them. So it kind of helps, I guess, for that kind of eye of looking and detail and that kind of stuff. I think you got it in you though, Michael.
I do too. I don't know what you mean. Like, you might not have finesse when it comes to actual gardening. Like, you might be messy.
I've got the ideas,
but it doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean you can't actually design and implement a show garden for sure. And you'd have other people helping you. You wouldn't be doing it all on your own. You'll have some landscape people helping out.
You've really got to manage your time as well. Like, how on earth do you know when to start or when you'll finish? Like, that must be so difficult, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's like a year in the making. But I stuck to my design like a gospel Bible page, whereas others have not necessarily stuck to it so strictly. I think sticking to your design kind of almost to a T helps you manage like your expectations and how you go forward, I think. So I think, but I can imagine you doing like a whole border or something that you eat and everybody just comes and eats it.
Instead of like the sell-off at the end, everyone just comes and eats it all.
Eats it. Yeah. Like the scene in the Willy Wonka chocolate factory where they're like licking the wall.
Licking the wall.
That's going to be people just like eating all of the plants.
Or maybe, Melon, you and I should do it together, but I don't know if we might clash or argue too much in that environment.
Yeah, like we're like a married couple, so I feel like we'd be like...
We would definitely storm off a couple of times. Like,
I was actually going to say, no, you would storm off a couple of times.
I said we.
Actually. Maybe one day.
Yeah.
Where are you now, Michael? Anyway, you're lying on a bed.
Yeah.
What country are you in?
I'm in the Netherlands. I just drove back across from Germany today. Been creating some unique content with I'm going to show you. I was dressed as a Ghostbuster.
As you do.
Yeah, but do you know what? do you know what's really crazy? Like, I'm obviously creating a lot of unique content with different kind of plant breeders, plant brands, stuff like that. And out of all the clients, these are the ones that kind of almost challenge me. They're kind of like giving ideas, and I'm kind of like, oh, I'm not too sure about that. It's usually me trying to convince them, because one of the ideas I wasn't too sure about today was they wanted me to do a rap about one of their plants.
A rap, as in an actual like singing rap type thing.
Yeah. And I was really like, I was there last night and we were discussing it. It's like, how can I really like refuse to do this for a client? It feels really weird. Like, if I'm like, because I'm only refused to do it because I like embarrassed or not confident, which feels like not a good enough reason to refuse it. So I was kind of like, okay, and like, but slowly I kind of like almost came around to the idea. I did do it in the end because they bought the outfit as well and everything, honestly. But they also bought this Ghostbusters outfit. Look at that.
Oh my God. So Michael's showing us on the screen a Ghostbusters outfit. Yeah, okay. You really do love plants, Michael.
That's
you really do love plants, Michael. I mean, that's a lot, isn't it?
I just I just asked to do unusual things, and this is my wrap outfit.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
You see it? Yeah.
Who are you? What? I just don't even know what to say about that.
What's your rapper name? Come on.
What's your rapper name?
Rapper name.
Oh, I think because they're so committed to these things. Like, there's a girl there called Anna, and she then, like, last time, you remember, this is Hainia, where we did the plant boardroom, where all the plants were the members of The Apprentice, pretty much.
Yeah.
And that was kind of like the setup, and it was kind of like voiceover, and they made names for the plants and printed out the labels and really
that was really fun.
Yeah, and this one they even like made like medallions with a big M, and I think on the cap they put they called me Perryman.
Oh my God, Perryman.
Perryman.
Yeah.
Rapper Perryman.
But
rapping about plants.
I haven't put the reel up quite yet, but maybe over the next week or two. Yeah.
Michael, can you give us a little rap? I want to hear a little rap.
Oh yeah, I want a little demo, please.
No,
come on, you have to give us a little demo.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, spoil sport.
But it's really weird because, like, I don't know about you, but I've never even sung in front of anyone in my life. You know.
I have, yeah. I've been in.
I would never do karaoke.
Oh, well, I love a bit of karaoke.
Oh
I can't
God.
sing at all.
Michael,
well, maybe I'm starting to open up my world a bit.
I'm a screamer at karaoke. I literally can't sing. Like, it just sounds like a cat. I don't know what it is. It literally sounds like a cat.
Ironically, by cruel twist of fate, I sometimes sing in the car, and I actually think I've got a really good voice.
Yeah, we all do.
Well,
we all do.
Are you gonna? Come on.
I'm not going to do it now, no. But it's a little bit like Britney. It's really quite
a bit like Britney.
Voice. Yeah. What about you, Alina? Do you sing?
I dabble.
Actually, you have a very sweet voice, so I feel like you probably can sing.
Sweet voice?
Yeah, you have a really sweet voice, so I think you can sing.
Oh, yeah. Okay, cool. Maybe I'll send you guys a voice clip sometime.
Yeah.
In the middle of the night, it will arrive under cover of darkness.
Mr. Rapper Perryman.
Tell us about you, Melon, actually.
Yes, what would you like to know?
I'm thinking with the egg single, don't ask me. Tell us about the flower farm, actually, because I don't think I've caught up with you about the flower farm.
You haven't? Well, it is picking up because the sun's out, but we're having rain intermittently, so that's good. So obviously the drought literally was a disaster because we didn't have irrigation in yet. And then I went back to England and then came back to like very many dead plants on the flower fields, and that was sad, but not all of them. So yeah, we've now got kind of the perfect weather for it. Just before we come into the extreme heat and humidity, so that's the worst part of it here.
That's the bit, Alina, where your hair goes curly.
Yes.
Would that drive you mad as well, or not?
She's got curly hair. It's like
it makes Ellen want to smash the place up.
Yeah. Yeah. So mine is like this, and then it just puffs up, like it frizzes and it like puffs. Like so horrible. Anyway, I think I don't think the plants like it either. So at the moment, everything that I've sown has germinated, which is amazing.
Yay.
Lots of things are coming on, like sunflowers, zinnias, some snapdragons. The cornflowers are going on and on. They've literally been flowering for months. It's insane. I've got some vegetables which are all doing really well too. Already had the first tomatoes, just a little trial, which were delicious. But we are now heading into the heat and humidity. So that's going to be the next challenge. So like halfway through June through to probably the end of August is horrific here. Like it's just not nice.
Isn't that funny? In England, we look forward to summer, but like there in Carolina, people dread the summer.
Dread the summer. Yeah. And we love autumn so much here, and I never understood why people like really went for the whole pumpkin things and decorating the porch with all autumn stuff because it's so OTP, yeah. But now I 100% get it, because you're just so happy that you've come out of this horrifically hot, humid summer, and it's still sunny and it's still lovely, but it's just like a little cooler, and the humidity's gone. It's so nice. So we're now coming into the summer, and yeah, that will be the next challenge on the flower farm. But this is the first year, so I've taken all the pressure off myself by simply saying first year was an experiment. So, you know,
it always is.
Yeah,
always is.
Exactly. And I don't want anyone to have any expectation. I'm not selling any to anyone externally unless there's something that happens to be growing that someone wants, but I'm not advertising that or anything. I'm just seeing what grows and learning.
But surely with plants, every year is an experiment, you know? And that's how
every year is an experiment. But for me personally, this is a massive challenge. I have never gardened in this kind of climate. Like the soil is thick, heavy clay soil, and it's orange, and half is fade down. It's just wet, but then the top is rock hard. So it's like it's horrible soil. So you have that, you know, and then there's a million other pests and diseases that we don't have in England. So to me, this is like you can apply all of the theory, but it doesn't always work out. You know, theory doesn't always work, does it? Like you'll know that. So it's one big experiment, and so far not bad. We'll see how it goes.
Wow, sounds good.
Yeah. It's fun. I love it though. So, you know, that's part of it. Doing something that you love doing. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Have you been in the UK recently, Michael?
Me? I only came across a couple of days ago. Because
the weather has been, I like to say, a bit bipolar as well.
Same, like exactly where I've been. It's like literally rain in 1 minute and then like rainbow the next. It's like, oh my gosh, honestly. But then I think all those people that moaned when it was too hot, they're now getting what they wanted. So
exactly,
you know, and now they're probably still moaning.
Well,
are you? Do you like the hot though? Are you a summer girl or not?
Oh yeah.
I
like the warm.
I can take it, honestly. Yeah.
I can take it, but not this here. It's just not. It's not fun. Like the first year or two I was here, I'd be so sweaty, and I would go to say a meeting or to meet someone, and I would say, "I'm so sorry, I'm so sweaty." I'm like, this British girl is just not used to this humidity. And every single person would say, "I've lived in my whole life, and I'm still not used to this humidity." It's so bad.
Wow.
You know? Anyway, I really want to know like where your love for houseplants started in the beginning. Like,
oh gosh,
like, do you know what I mean? I want to know a little background. We know you're a gold medal award winner, but like, where did it all start?
Oh gosh, so it's a long story, but I'll try and make it as short as possible.
You don't have to rush. We're good.
No, honestly, give us the long version. We want it.
So I've been, because a lot of people have been asking me this kind of thing, and so when I was 7, I always wanted to be a garden designer, and I've got a gardener for a dad, and he's been doing it since he was 16. Learned from his granddad. It's in the generations kind of thing.
That's cool.
So when I was always in my head, 7, I'm going to be a garden designer. I'm going to do that. That's what I want to do for a job. And then got to around 15, I needed to get a job to pay for things. So my first job was in a garden centre back in my hometown. absolutely loved it, was a Sunday girly there. And my position was mainly houseplants there. So I've learned lots of gardening stuff from my dad growing up with him. And always loved being in the garden, wanting a garden, and then going into the garden. So it was great because I could be around outdoor plants as well. But being a houseplant person is where it kind of first tickled into my life, let's say, because I was learning from my colleagues little houseplant tips and tricks. And that's when I first saw the Houseplant Expert book by Dr. DJ Hessian.
Oh, yeah.
So that was the first time I ever saw that book. And I would challenge myself every Sunday to pick a plant, learn about it, and see if I remember it by the end of the day. So, yeah, I really loved it. I loved working with a couple of people who were the houseplant people there. I learned so much from them. And obviously, like, kept my kind of broad knowledge of gardening too. So I wasn't just solely houseplants. I was doing a lot of outdoor stuff and whatever. And then I always kind of still wanted a garden more than houseplants. So fast forward a few years, I say, right, been to college. I did art in college. My dad told me, because my choices were like horticultural art, and he had the same choice when he went to college, and he chose horticulture. So he was like, go and do art, because he knew I loved it. He knew I loved painting at the time. So I went and did art in college. Great. Okay. Then got to like uni stage. I then went to uni in Cardiff, continuing photography, and lived with my ex-partner, had a garden. So I was like, great, I can finally like design the garden, do the garden, whatever. And I then worked at Caerphilly Garden Centre as well at the time. And that was when I like started to have a few house plants in my house. But was still kind of garden focused. It was only when I then like split up with my ex-partner in my third year of uni, I had to go into uni halls. I was quite isolated, and quite a really dark time in my life. I was quite trapped, and I had some of these house plants with me from my ex-partner's house because he didn't like them. Don't know who cannot like plants.
Who doesn't like plants? Come on.
I know, exactly. And there was a point where I was just like, okay, I need to do something for myself, because it was a really bad time. And a plant shop opened up in Cardiff, and houseplant shops back then were quite far and few in between. It wasn't very common. So I went and asked him if I could just volunteer, because I just needed to be back with plants. If it wasn't a garden centre, because I couldn't go to Caerphilly, I was in Cardiff, it was too much to travel. So I missed, I left Caerphilly Garden Centre, was missing that. Went and started volunteering for this guy called Stephen, who owned this plant shop called Eartha in Cardiff. And it was kind of from that point I started having more houseplants in my life and kind of bringing them into my uni halls. And there's some really early on photos of like my Instagram of like my whole desk just covered in houseplants.
That's cool.
And I used to take so many pictures of it. And one of my peers in my BA photography course kind of was like taking the mick out of me and saying like, why you keep posting pictures of plants, blah, 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 blah. And that's kind of when I started my own Instagram account.
People always got something to say, haven't they? Yeah.
But I mean, look at me now.
Yeah, exactly. They don't have gold medals, do they?
No, they don't. Exactly. So kind of in like a roundabout way, because I always love gardening and outdoor plants and doing garden design through no fault of my own, not owning, being in a place where I didn't have a garden, I couldn't do anything. And I still don't own a garden because I still rent. Houseplants became that thing of bringing gardening and nature indoors, which you hear quite a lot. You hear that a lot about houseplants, and most likely helped, get me out of a really dark time, and and really helped me to get back on track and find myself again.
Well, I'm pleased that you found something, and I'm even more pleased that it was houseplants. So that's cool. But I had no idea you'd literally been around plants practically your whole life. That's really amazing. So you have a lot of knowledge even outside of houseplants, outdoor plants as well.
Yeah, it's annoying because I still want my horticultural degree, because if I was to apply to a job now, they want that RHS degree. And I'm like, please give me a chance. I promise I know.
I know. It's funny, isn't it?
Yeah.
And how must your dad have felt when you done your show garden and all he must have been so proud.
He was really proud. Yeah. There's like a couple of photos of, well, I posted a video of the when I saw my mum and dad when I got best in show. That was really emotional.
I saw some photographs, and that like almost all of them you can literally see the emotion in them, whoever's in, like there's you and there's other people, but it felt so, like I literally felt emotional looking at them. I was like, oh, that is so lovely. I don't know why, but I felt proud. I don't know why. I was just like, this is just so lovely. Like you could really feel it. It was just so nice.
Yeah, I was achieving one of my childhood dreams. I saw Chelsea Flower Show like so many years ago, and I've forgotten his name, but the guy who does the Japanese gardens, he was there this year, who has like the moss balls. He's amazing and incredible. And I remember seeing his first Chelsea Flower Show garden when he first went there, and I was like, I want to do that. And I was like in my early teens, or as a kid. So
and you still might be doing that, because
I still might do
that.
Yeah.
But I love I just want to jump in. I love the way you described it, and especially when you talked about plants getting you out of a dark place. It's almost like plants is almost like another religion, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The way that we kind of all then follow it and kind of like believe in it, and it helps us, and it soothes us, and it gives us, it gives us the relief. It's incredible. Plants are a religion.
Or a cult.
Yeah,
whatever way you look at it.
Borderline a cult.
Is a cult a good thing or a bad thing? I don't know, but
well, mostly bad, I guess, but I don't really know. I've never been associated with one.
I need to look up the proper meanings of those, actually. Do you do anything with outdoor plants? Because you've got an allotment, or am I right with that?
No. Yeah. I've got an allotment. I've had it for just over 3 years now, like 3.5 years. And I love it. And when you said earlier, Ellen, about like your first year's the experiment, that's why I always recommend to people now who get an allotment. I'm like, don't rush your first year of like owning a garden space or an allotment, because it's like you have to test and trial things. And it's like,
but surely a garden, just like Ellen's flower farm, surely every year is an experiment,
Yeah.
Like we all feel like we've got to do it perfectly, but growing is always an experiment. We're always trying new things, new ways.
There's no question. I totally agree. Every single year is an experiment, because every year is different. Like the climate is different. It might be a rainy summer or a hot summer, or there's just there's a different pest, or 1 year you get blight, the next year you don't. Like there's just like so many things.
100%.
But like on the flower farm, that's got to be a business, so it gets a bit serious. Do you know what I mean? So it's kind of like the first year is an experiment, and yes, there'll be an element of experimentation every year, of course, but I do have to start getting a little bit more real with it.
I see now.
Like
okay,
next year.
But I guess it's also when we use social media, we feel like we have to make it look good as well, don't we? That must
for sure.
Some pressure in there at some level.
Exactly. Like last year I had the most amazing harvest of like tomatoes and strawberries. That was like my two main things. This year I feel like I'm just growing stuff for slugs and snails. Like they're just eating the absolute hell out of all my plants at the minute. Well, everything at this point.
Everything's sacrificial.
It's like kale. I've grown kale, and I was like finding old gooseberry branches because they're super pointy. I was like, I'll put that in my kale plants. Hopefully they won't get it. No, they still eat it.
They still eat it.
Because it really feels so tasty. They'll take the pain of anything else to get to that kale.
Oh, that's mad.
I know.
Well, I've got quite a lot of courgettes growing, or zucchini, as obviously. And I was like, well, they're not really growing very well. Like, where's the flowers? And then I realized there had been plenty of flowers, but something has obviously come along and just devoured all the flowers. So now I'm like, well, what am I going to do now?
Yeah.
No good. These are just the things we deal with when we garden, right?
Yeah, exactly. So hopefully next year will be better. Won't be as wet.
Yeah.
Won't be as many snails. Yeah, exactly. Eating everything. I even brought like a lupin from B&Q because I was like, okay, let's not have tiny ones. So I was like, they'll get eaten. I brought a proper nice, big, grown, substantial lupin. It was about to flower and everything. Stuck it in the allotment. Went back a few days, all eaten. I was like,
they seem to love lupins.
Fuming.
Yeah.
Fuming.
It's so stressful.
Especially because it was like a massive one as well. I was thinking, they might eat it a little bit, but because it's so big, maybe I'll get away with it. No. Idiot.
You are
I was an idiot.
Talking about everyone in a garden right now at this time of year.
But I see a lot of people having success with like the wool pellets and stuff like that, right? Is that a good thing to go for?
I haven't used them. I think you've got to be careful to make sure they are actually like biodegradable and stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm just trying to let nature do its thing,
Bygones be
bygones. No, I know. I'll have a little bit of a moan and then be all right with it.
Exactly. You have a little. It doesn't mean that you can't be disappointed when things go. But I haven't used the wool pellets, but they need to be natural wool for a start. So I don't know about that, but I don't use any animal product anyway on my allotment or in my growing, so I've never used it, but it's true. Like when you're not protecting them in all of the other fancy ways that people do, you will lose crops. But I'd rather that personally. So you just
what is the predator of slugs and snails really?
Slow worms, hedgehogs.
Oh, slow worms.
Slow worms.
Hedgehogs, they can't be that hungry to get rid of all the slugs and snails that trouble the garden, right?
They are, and they're so messy, Michael. Like they literally bash the snails on the ground, and in the morning, like my mum's outside her door where the hedgehog comes and eats the snails. It's really messy. It's like a gruesome snail cemetery.
Do they not eat up the scraps?
No, because all the shell is all like broken up on the floor and stuff.
They eat them like French. Slow worms eat slugs and snails. They're really good.
So it's really trying to attract those things into the garden, isn't it?
And frogs, I guess, as well.
Having a nice biodiverse space, it will generally help.
Ellen, Alina, let Ellen put your head back again. Like, I appreciate these are actually supposed to be cactus, but it looks like Ellen's got a giant gherkin on her head. Doesn't it? They look like gherkins. I love it.
A little bit.
Fat gherkin.
There gets prickly pear.
Oh, I love it. That's so cool.
Nice.
Prickly pear with big flower.
Yeah, gherkins. Gherkins and zucchini flowers. Ooh la la.
Well, this has been very nice. Thank you very much.
That was like an ending. Oh, we were.
No, wait a minute. I was going to say, I don't know. I literally don't know how long we've been recording for, but we
actually can't go too long. Otherwise, we have because this is going on the end of our usual podcast. That's how we use it, and we got Matt Appleby from Hort Week this week, so it's a big hitting episode. So we got the gold winner on a big hitter. So
wow,
you should be impressed. We're impressed. Everyone's impressed. Big old impressed circle.
Oh, brilliant, Alina. Where can our listeners find you if they don't already follow you?
Yeah, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, all the same handle. Little Plant Lover. And make sure you say it with a good ER at the end.
Lover. Oh, that's all right. Lover.
Yeah, there you go. That's
Lover.
better. Yeah.
That's cool. Lover. Nice. I was trying to do another accent the other day, but I can't remember what it was.
You interviewed a Cornish person. That was the video I saw.
Oh my god, yeah, at Chelsea. And he kept saying what his company was called, and he was like, Little Cornish Glasshouse. Little Cornish Glasshouse. And I was like, what? I was like, what? And I had no idea what he said. Little Cornish Glasshouse. And I finally got it. It was Glasshouse. It's like, glass house. And so I had that in the video, and I just left it on the front because like it was just hilarious, honestly. Little Cornish glass house.
Well,
Isn't that mad how we can all say stuff so differently?
Yeah,
Incredible.
totally.
Yeah.
And just even like in England, just the regional differences are mad, let alone then country to country, even speaking English, like it's crazy.
Honestly,
even here in America, it's just like the same thing. Like if we're using the same language, but we totally don't understand each other.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
Oh my God.
Especially if you go to like Liverpool, that's the Scouse.
Yeah.
You're like, what?
That was good. That was really good.
I love that sound as well. It's such a cool sound.
Like the thing.
Yeah. Amazing. Oh my God.
Anyway, I'm gonna cut you all off now before I have some kind of anxiety over this.
Yeah, she's always got running time anxiety. I think it's boring.
Thank you so much. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.
So nice of you to join us. Really, really appreciate it. And
thank you for having me on.
The best of success. No worries.
Transform your garden the easy way with Garden on a Roll. This is the perfect solution for beautiful ready-made borders. If you love the look of professionally designed planting but don't have the time, knowledge or patience to plan it yourself, Garden on a Roll has you covered. Garden on a Roll are supporting Series 20 of the Plant-Based Podcast. Each border by Garden on a Roll is expertly designed by award-winning garden designer Anthony Henn and delivered with a simple, pre-planned, biodegradable template that you just roll out and plant in one go. No guesswork, no stress, just follow the instructions and enjoy the results. Whether you're refreshing a tired space or starting from scratch, you'll get a cohesive, seasonal design that works with the plants chosen, which will thrive together and look good all year round. Choose your style and size, and everything you need is then delivered to your door. It is planting by numbers. Visit Garden on a Roll today and bring your outdoor space to life.